everybody. So one of the questions that I see a lot on this channel and other channels is, does karma ever come back to smack the narcissist? And my answer usually is, yes, and also that it frequently happens at a much higher incident rate than normal people. They're just never going to tell you about it, and half the time they don't even know it. They just talk about how somebody victimized them, or how somebody else is an asshole, or they're how they know there's somebody else's secret agenda, etc. So it's never, they don't ever process it as karma. Remember, they're perfect. Well, this video that I'm going to show you happened in a neighboring county to where I live, about an hour away. This lady tries to go into a bank without a mask, and we all have our political viewpoints of masks, but at this particular point in time, this is sort of an interesting time in Texas. This has just been after the major winter storm that hit Texas in 2021. It's early March, and the governor of Texas, Governor Greg Abbott, recently announced that he's lifting the mandatory mask mandate at the state level, saying that he still encourages businesses and individuals to exercise their own rights, but he's leaving it to the county levels, the municipality levels, private businesses, and individuals to regulate themselves. So he's saying, clearly we still need to wear masks. I'm just not mandating it at the state level because I feel that's draconian. So, and everybody has their feelings about Greg Abbott and his motivations for that, namely being he's trying to shift focus off of the power grid failures that occurred and all of the failings that led to it. But all of that's neither here nor there. I want to focus on the individuals in this video. This lady was in a bank not wearing a mask, and so the bank manager called the police, and this video is a what is it? What's the stupid camera they wear? Whatever that's. God, I can't think of it right now. Badge camera. Fuck, what is it? I'll remember it later, I'm sure. Body camera. Damn. Yeah. I'm recording this early Monday morning before work. So anyways, it's body camera footage from the police officer removing this lady from a bank for refusing to wear a mask. And with this lady, there's clearly some cluster B stuff going on. I don't want to armchair diagnose and say that this is a case of NPD or BPD, but one thing is clear: this is definitely some sort. It's some sort of cluster B fun soup that is being observed. Clearly, not a high functioning disordered individual. Does not seem to be self-aware. So I'm gonna let y'all watch the video without commentary, and then I'm gonna go back and analyze it. And there's also a different way of lensing cluster B behavior that I want to introduce you guys to, and I've mentioned it in the past, but I'm gonna apply that lens as well. So, but without further ado, here's the video. Enjoy. Well, if you get joy out of these kinds of things. Why isn't my camera stopping? Damn.
Hello. That one?
Yeah, that's her to leave.
Okay. Ma'am, I'll say if that's you to leave, you have to leave.
My money's in this bank, and I'm going to take it out.
Well, then you have to
And
abide by the
after I do
rules,
that,
and you have to
the
have a mask
rules
on.
This is a state.
It's not. Businesses have the right to refuse service, even if you're not wearing a mask. That's their choice.
That's why I'm taking my money out.
Awesome. Well, you need to go and get a mask and then take your money out. You're not allowed to do.
I've been waiting here for
Ma'am,
about 10
listen,
minutes.
we're going to do this the easy way or the hard way.
What are you going to do, arrest me?
Yes, for intruding on premises.
That's hilarious.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah. And you believe in this?
I believe in it.
Do you believe in this?
The laws, yes.
The law says that I do not have to wear a mask.
You can not in public,
My
but you're not in
rights,
public. You're not in
my-
public.
Yes. This
I'm not
is
going to
a
argue with you
public
about
place.
this. This is not a public
Okay,
place.
I'm
This is a
next in
private
line.
business.
I'm gonna do
No,
my
you're not.
business.
We're going to go outside.
Are you serious?
Do I look like I'm kidding?
Well, I don't know because
Let's go walk
obviously
outside.
you've got some issues
I've got issues.
that you're taking away
Okay.
people's human rights.
Okay. I'll say let's go
now
outside.
is
Let's
he
go
going
outside.
to shoot me, people? Is
No.
he going to shoot me for trying not to breathe?
Cool.
Come
Cool.
on, dude.
Don't do that. Oh no.
Do not touch me. Who do you think you are?
2010, one resisting.
Back up. Some old lady is getting handcuffed here. Here, people. Ow.
Ma'am,
Are
put
you-
your hands behind your back. Say it. You don't stop resisting. Stop.
Is anybody gonna, like, get real here? Really?
Relax.
No one's gonna get real? Wow.
Come on.
Oh, you're gonna smash my head to the ground now? Now you're smashing my arm into my private area?
Your private area?
Yeah.
Put your hands behind your back.
My hand is behind my back, sir.
This one. Turn over on your stomach. Put your hand behind your back. Relax.
I'm totally relaxed. You're the one.
No, you are not relaxed. Not relaxed at all.
Right here, people. No, it's not. Wow, what a bunch of sheep. Okay, I hope someone's filming this. You're hurting me.
Oh, I'm filming it.
This is like cut.
Yeah,
This is
okay.
like cutting me.
Stand up. Stand up. Stand yourself up.
And how do you suggest, sir? I am like a 65-year-old woman here.
Okay. Sit
What
up.
are you doing?
Stand up.
Ayúdame, por favor.
Stand up.
Ayúdame, por favor.
Are you trying to speak Spanish to people?
I do speak Spanish.
Okay, well, stand up.
Are you happy now, lady?
Okay.
I'm not happy. You
Okay, stand up.
refuse to-
Stand up.
I refuse to listen to the.
Come on.
You know what? I think
She's
you
getting
broke
your
my
stuff.
foot.
Come on.
I think you broke my freaking foot,
Okay, I'll call.
and that's my business over there.
Yeah, she's going to pick it up. Come on. We're going outside. One in custody.
Wow. Not wearing a mask, people. This is what they do to you.
Slow everybody down.
Okay, I've got my dog in my truck.
I got you. I'm 10-4. Send EMS for a 60-year-old white female. She's complaining of foot pain.
Yeah. You
Take a
broke
seat.
my damn foot.
Take a seat.
49, we're out, women.
Okay.
Take a seat.
Where's your mask? Where's your
I'm
mask?
6 feet away from you.
Oh, well, I was 6 feet away from those people
All
in
right,
there, too.
in there. Get inside.
Come on, you guys.
Get
Let's
inside.
get real.
Right? So there's lots to laugh at, but then there's more serious angles to it. But man, so much stuff to unpack. You know, I hope somebody's recording this, and the officer says, "Oh, I'm recording it." You know, when she starts resisting, it's like, "Oh, don't do that." And her terrible Spanish with an this is one of the worst American accents I've ever heard trying to speak Spanish. And clearly she's not a Spanish speaker to the point he says, "Are you trying to speak Spanish to people?" But I want to take a more serious dialogue and analysis of this, and perhaps the most sobering realization about this that takes the humor out of it for me is these types of disorders, particularly individuals who are not self-aware or higher functioning. I had it explained to me by a close friend who actually has borderline personality disorder, and she's high functioning. She's self-aware. She keeps herself in therapy. She does regular CBT and DBT, and so she's very conscious and aware of what it does to her life and her mindset and the impact that it has on others, and she really she invests a substantial amount of energy into managing it. And so I think speaking to a close friend of mine that has it has really just opened a lot of perspective for me. And so one of the most sobering parts of it is we say that people with cluster B disorders like borderline and narcissism, that their behavior comes from the result of an emotional injury. And that's a term that I've frequently used on this channel. But it's kind of sort of bland and generic. So I had it described to me like this. Emotional injury is, it's an emotional pain that is on par with the pain of losing a loved one, like, you know, a loved one dying, like going to a funeral of a friend or a partner or a spouse or a mother, father, grandmother, grandfather. It's grief level pain associated to something that would normally be innocuous. So and just in 2020, I lost both my grandmothers. I lost a friend. A lot of people I knew died. Well, I say a lot, but at least a half dozen. And on top of, for those, I don't mention this much on my channel, but my mother, for all intents and purposes, died in my arms. You know, I was holding her in my arms until paramedics and EMTs arrived, at which point I handed her over to professionals, and she expired in the ambulance. But for all intents and purposes, for the better part of 45 minutes, I was holding her as she was dying. So that does a lot to someone's perspective of loss and death. And so this viewpoint kind of sort of resonates with me in a completely different manner, because when you view it like that, when things like disappointment and frustration, negative emotions that don't normally feel that painful to us, are extremely painful to other individuals. And I see this with children. There's some kids that are just sensitive, that are just real easy to cry, and they seem really, really dramatic. And it's the realization that some of us are just born feeling emotional pain at a much louder volume than everybody else. You know, it's one of these neurodiversity kinds of things. And so from the perspective of, you know, we tell kids, stop crying, there's no reason to cry, you're being dramatic, that sort of stuff. When you view it from the standpoint of maybe this child's feeling a pain at an equivalent level of having a parent die or a grandmother die, like they're feeling funeral level pain because they didn't get an extra cookie, like that's some serious unfairness rained down from the universe on an individual like that. And it's kind of sort of easy to see that if an individual like this experiences childhood in that way, and is not properly accommodated and taught how to process these emotions in a positive manner, if that aspect of life is neglected for them, then it becomes easy to see how formative years results in an individual who will go to great lengths to avoid things like disappointment or being at fault or anything that can possibly rain this emotional pain down. I mean, the possibilities are endless. They conduct their lives and they live their lives in such a way to avoid these emotions at all costs. And the result is an adult like the lady we see in this video through, I don't want to say through no fault of her own, because I don't know the individual, and clearly she's being obstinate and defiant. However, think of it, so if you can imagine a woman who's 60 years old who has lived life with the incentive of avoiding grief at all costs, I can see this alternate explanation. And again, I don't know the lady. And this is a subjective viewpoint. It humanizes her a little bit. And so for those of you who are here for dehumanizing other individuals based on their disorders, this may disappoint you a little bit. And in generally my view of disorders like narcissism and borderline tends to be negative and judgmental. But as I said, I've had a close friend with the disorder who's really sort of opened my eyes on these things. It's a lot easier to humanize them and see them as people because I see her as a person. So maybe it's understanding, I think, is key to many things. So I think it's possible from just a standpoint of an individual living with such disorders that she's gone into the bank, she's believed that she no longer has to wear a mask by law, and so she's in the bank and she's told that, no, you're wrong, you have to wear a mask. Well, she's in a public place in her mind, and it's not necessarily about the law, it's about avoiding taking the walk of shame in front of everybody. You were wrong, nope, it looks like you still have to wear a mask. And now she has to walk out of the bank, taking the walk of shame in front of everyone, the place where she banks, the bank that has her money, right? I can only estimate what kind of disproportionate emotional pain that would result in, okay? I don't know, maybe a little, maybe a lot, but in the case of, nobody really likes the walk of shame. That's why we have that term. And the whole, the whole mindset of narcissism is win big, lose big, right? And it's because as a child and growing up through childhood, they always lose big when anything negative happens, right? So frequently losing big. And I can see this development cycle that if I'm always going to lose big, well, then I better win big as much as I can, right? And that being the incentive from childhood to adulthood, all the way up to age 60, and the result is an individual like this. It's really something to think about. And from the standpoint of, is it better to be dragged out of the bank kicking and screaming? Maybe. Because at that point, maybe that's less painful to an individual such as this. Maybe that's less painful than taking a voluntary walk of shame past everyone. Assert this mindset of asserting herself as hard as she can, win big. Because most of let's be honest, like 98% of the time, and if it wasn't for COVID and things like that, being an obstinate ass can usually get you your way. It just makes you an ass. And by the numbers, this tactic works more times than it does not. So odds are in her favor that just to be stubborn will result in a victory for her, because mind you, the incentive again is to avoid that intense grief. And that becomes the incentive for bad behavior, because bad behavior doesn't hurt in cases like them. by no means am I condoning her behavior or justifying it or saying that she made good choices or decisions, right? And this is not to start some kind of polarizing, hyperbolic online discussions. It's just viewing individuals as people who have largely underrepresented, underarticulated childhood experiences, innocent children, right? You know, I'm a parent now, and so dealing with the emotional roller coaster of having two girls that are constantly trying to assassinate each other, kind of sort of provides some insight. I'm dealing with two small children who are constantly at each other's throats, and so I see their behaviors mirrored in these adults, and so I'm seeing adults and children behaving the same way, and so from that standpoint, it's weird because it's like I'm seeing past, present, and future all at the same time. So, yeah. I was gonna go back through the video and edit it and add subtitles and all of that, but I think it's probably just faster and easier for everyone if you just go back and rewind a little bit. I'm not doing all that work a second time. So, anyways, do please like, comment, or share. I always love to hear from you guys. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you think.